feel like this is the Irish edition, or the sort of Irish and honorary Irish edition.
Plastic paddy, my wife likes to say.
Oh, harsh.
Ask the Host, episode 21. I'm Joe.
I'm Félim.
And I'm Gary.
Hello, chaps. The idea of this show is very simple. You send in your questions for us to show@askthehost.com and we answer them. The catch is they can be about anything you like except Linux and open source. Before we get started, a quick thank you to everyone who supports us with PayPal and Patreon. We really do appreciate that. If you want to learn more, you can go to askthehost.com/support. And remember that patrons get these episodes 2 weeks before everyone else. The first question then from Oscar. What's the furthest north and south you've been and why?
I had to Google this because the world is a sphere and I couldn't quite work out which would be more southern. But the two most southern places I have been are Durban in South Africa and Melbourne. And it turns out that Melbourne is the most south I've been by quite a margin.
Hold on a second. Are we talking about south as in closest to the equator, or are we talking actually like the Antarctic?
I went for highest number south in terms of latitude.
Yeah, so closest to the North Pole and closest to the South Pole.
Okay.
Furthest north, I've literally no idea. Probably somewhere in Scotland. I've not been that far north.
Same, I haven't really been very far north or south. I think the furthest south I've been is like the Bahamas when I was a little kid on holiday, which is really not very south at all. I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere.
Same. Never been to the Southern Hemisphere. The furthest south I've been to is the Canary Islands. I actually thought it was going to be LA, but it turns out the Canary Islands are, again, on a globe. I had to go look it up. That was 28 degrees north, and that's as south as I've been. And north is Scotland, so I went to Aquilty, and that is 58 degrees north. That was near. I was camping in Ullapool with my girlfriend, now wife, and the wind was so strong it snapped the carbon fibre tent poles.
Huh. Well, I've been as far north as Loch Ness, which is fairly north in Scotland.
Beat you on that one.
Right.
Yeah, I've not been particularly far north in Scotland. Like Edinburgh is pretty much where I draw the line, which is 55.95 degrees, according to Google.
That's not right. I think it's 56.
Maybe rounding it, I don't know.
Oh, God, you used the wrong globe again.
It's all flat, Félim. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it is on Google Maps. What about the furthest east and west then? I know it's kind of a bit arbitrary, but like if you consider, say, London as the centre of the universe.
Well, it is 0 degrees, is it not?
I think so, yeah.
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah.
East, again, is probably like the furthest south. It's Melbourne or Sydney, whichever of those is furthest east. Melbourne, I think.
Right.
East for me would be Prague.
All right, not very far east at all. For me, I think Athens in Greece.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So not very.
West I do a bit better as Los Angeles.
I think I've got you beat slightly
you
with
jammy bastard.
Seattle and the surrounding areas.
Oh, fair play, yeah. Well, hang on. Earth's curvature, let's see.
Yeah, for me, it's either Seattle or Portland, whichever one of those is slightly further west. Probably Seattle.
But this has made me realise that I just have not seen much of the world is the bottom line. Never been to Africa, never been to Asia, never been to South America or Australia.
Well, it's made me realise that I'm more travelled than I thought. Clearly not been to 4 corners of the earth, but I've been further than you guys, so.
I have never been to Asia and never been to Africa.
I did fly over Iceland and Greenland on the way to Seattle.
Don't think that quite counts as being there, though.
I looked down and saw it.
It's like I flew over Vegas on the way to LA. Doesn't mean I won at blackjack or anything.
No, well, I'm still counting it. I looked down and saw it with my own eyes, so I've been there. So there you go, Greenland. T and Blue Team asks, what is your favourite or meaningful to you artwork? Painting, sculpture, photograph, installation, print, by a reasonably major artist, and why does it matter to you?
Okay, well, as the art heathen here, I think I'll just say I really don't know. I do like Edward Hopper. I like an awful lot of his pictures. I mean, Nighthawks and stuff is quite cool, but I like the one of I think it's the Station House or something like that it's called. It's like a house solitary near a train track in the middle of nowhere. But if I'm allowed to cheat, I'm going to say it's the book Full Moon by Michael Light, where he took all the original Apollo photographs, the ones that you don't see on like the front of newspapers and stuff, and he posted them, and some of them are absolutely stunning. And I'm going to share one of them with you because I think this is one of the most amazing pictures. That's a composite picture that was taken by the guys from Apollo 16, and it shows Charlie Duke twice in the same picture because they took one picture, he hopped sideways and they took another, and it's a panorama, a shot of the moon. I challenge anybody to tell me that isn't art. My photograph of it is not quite art, but it was the best I could manage.
No, the discarded Raspberry Pis make it art, I think.
They are set for a project, I'll have you know.
I think for me, it's some Banksy artwork that he did in a seaside town not too far away from here called Lowestoft about 2 years or so ago. And it was mainly because I remember going to those places as a kid and thinking, wow, this place is a little bit of a hole. And then actually now it's become a place that people flock to see, I know, a seagull eating some stuff from a skip, or a child making a sandcastle from a dug-up pavement that's now been preserved forever. So, yeah, I guess like you, Félim, no, I'm not a particularly artsy person, but seeing these places that I went to as a kid suddenly have some kind of art in them is pretty cool, I guess.
That's reminded me of a Banksy that appeared near a pub where I used to drink years ago. It was the one that's One Nation Under CCTV, I think it was called. And it was actually on some post office land. And so it was only there for a couple of months and then they just painted over it. And I actually got to see it several times. We would be standing outside the pub drinking and it was just right there. And it was just weird to see a Banksy there.
Should chisel that wall off. Take the plaster, stick it in a bit of rapid set cement, you'd be sorted.
I mean, I think the guy in Lowestoft near here actually did have the wall of his house removed and rebuilt so that the Banksy could be preserved.
It's dedication. I like it.
Well, mine's going to seem all highbrow now. Mine is a painting by Salvador Dali called Earth sur la plate sans la plate, which is just a silly play on words because in French, Earth sur la plate means fried eggs, but it literally means eggs on the plate, I think. And if you just do an image search for that, Earth sur la plate sans la plate, it's some eggs on a plate, but then one of the eggs is like tied to a bit of string. It's a very silly painting, and I don't know why I like it. I think because it makes me sound intellectual or something.
Well, clearly you're more intellectual than me because I got a D in GCSE French, and I can't even remember how to spell the thing you're saying in order to Google it.
I tried eggs on a plate, but I just got a lot of eggs on plates.
Well, search Dali, D-A-L-I, eggs, and you'll probably see it.
I don't want any of that AI stuff, Joe. You know that.
Yeah, it's the first thing on Google image search. Not that you would use that, Félim.
I'm actually using Grubble.de image search. Thank you very much. Oh, I have it now. Oh, that is bizarre. Is one of the eggs getting hung?
Yeah. It's a very strange painting, but all of Dali's work is a bit odd. And I don't know, I like that surreal style, I suppose.
The AI-esque looking painting that you've given us here.
This was long before AI bullshit, come on.
Yeah, sure it was. Sure it was.
All right, Teg asks, you have to pick one brand of power tools that uses batteries. Which brand do you use and why? You must have seen that meme where it's like men get to a certain age and then they get sorted into houses like in Harry Potter. And it's like Makita, Milwaukee, DeWalt, and Ryobi or whatever.
Ryobi for me.
Well, mine are all Bosch, and that's because they use the same battery as the Hoover, which makes things nice and easy.
Right.
Because if the drill runs out of battery, I just go and nick the one off the Hoover and problem solved.
I had a previous assortment of various ones where the strimmer and the clippers used different batteries and they never worked and they all died. And I thought, I'll just buy new batteries. But no, of course you can't do that. Well, you probably could now and buy a knockoff Chinese one. But I saw Ryobi, saw the OnePlus standard. I went, yeah, I'm having that. And I have 3 batteries, a fast charger, and I can get the hedges and the grass cut at the same time. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, mine is the consumer grade. Well, I guess not consumer grade, but like not the professional Bosch 18-volt stuff, the cheaper one. And I've got the Hoover and the impact driver and the cordless drill and the hedge trimmer.
Nice.
And they all use the same battery, and it's nice.
So yours is green Bosch rather than sort of bluey green?
Yeah, the cheaper one.
Yeah.
I don't use it enough to really worry about it that much.
Well, I am Team Makita because years and years and years ago, I got a quite cheap set of 18-volt tools. And I've just added to that. I just buy them bare now.
I'd like to, but I can't afford to. I can't justify the expense, let's put it that way.
Well, you get so invested where I've now got like 2 of the bigger capacity batteries and like 3 or 4 of the smaller ones, and to replace all of those, it should be a nightmare.
Exactly. You're just locked in, aren't you? I actually bought a couple of the Chinese batteries for the Makita because I think new batteries are like £100, or they were at the time, and this was like 30. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And it's been exactly the same as an official one. I mean, all it is just those cells.
This question does state the fact that if we had one, but I don't. I actually have a Makita drill with 2 batteries separate and then on my 3 for the other one. So I have 2 systems.
Nightmare.
Yeah, I've got one cheap, like, Screwfix house brand drill that I acquired at some point that uses a different battery, but it's like my backup drill that if I need a wire brush or something while I'm doing something else, I put it on there.
Well, I needed to drill a hole for a network cable, and my SDS drill had just died. And I went to the shop because I needed it now. I couldn't order it. And they didn't have the one that I wanted, but they had the one that I really wanted, which was the proper Makita one, which was more expensive. I was like, well, I suppose I'm just going to have to buy the best drill there is then.
Oh, no.
There's no choice. I couldn't go to the other shop 10 minutes away.
No, I couldn't. And so now I've got a proper 240-volt STS Makita, and I basically never use it, but I'm hoping it's just going to last me forever, essentially.
Well, if you drill one hole every 5 years, then I'm sure it will.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing I wish I'd got was the bloody Parkside ones from Lidl. And, you know, not sponsored, but Lidl, please do free to send me donuts. I'll be fine with that. Because Big Clive has them on all the time, and he's taken them apart, and they actually look really good. And he's said, yeah, these are top. So, damn, is all I can say about that.
Yeah, to be fair, I was doing some stuff to the car, like replacing suspension components, and my Bosch impact driver just wouldn't touch it, and my dad turned up with a mains one from Lidl and just immediately undid everything. So
Nice.
They're pretty good for supermarket tools.
Well, I became aware that Makita do a coffee maker. It takes 2 18-volt batteries and you can make coffee with it.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I have seen this, actually. It's a pretty insane thing to purchase. And I've never seen someone who works on site that is that precious about coffee that they'd want a proper coffee machine either, right?
Or the radio. I've seen the radio as well. It's like, really? Oh, stop.
Well, the Makita radio is terrible. It's all low, mid, boom, and it just sounds terrible.
But that's what travels when you're on a building site, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You've been using power tools with no hearing defenders for ages. You can't hear high stuff anyway.
I'm sure as well, given the cost of it, you'd be better off just going and buying like a cheap Curry's own brand radio.
Yeah.
Turning it up full blast and just scrapping it every 6 months.
Exactly. All right. Kern asks, how do you hang your toilet paper? Loose end, draped over the top, or against the wall? Why? Neither is the answer to this. And I don't understand why everyone argues on the internet about this, but you two go on. Mullet or beard?
I would say I don't have a toilet roll holder because it turned out that we used diamond sheet as the tiles in our bathroom, and it took an hour and a half to drill a hole just to hang the shower. I just was like, well, that toilet roll can sit on the cistern, and that's just the way we're going to use that from now on. But if I were to use it, it would be hanging away from the wall, like on the outside bit, because if you have a shitty hand, you don't want it smeared all over the tile, getting stuck in the ground.
If you have a shitty hand, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, same here. I go for beard. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that I would want to touch the wall in any given situation, particularly if my hands aren't clean.
You could have had a ply failure. That's what you could have had. You need to have an emergency escape.
Well, yeah, I'm similar to you, Félim, only I'm just very lazy and just don't really have space. Like, I've never had space. In one of the places I lived, I had like a towel radiator thing right next to me, so we would just stuff the toilet rolls in that.
Ooh, warm. I like it.
Yeah. And now I've got like this little shelf of boxing in of the pipes next to me, and I just stand it on that and it falls off constantly.
I refuse to believe that there is nowhere in your bathroom to put something to store a toilet roll that itself is the size of the toilet roll.
I mean, I could, but I just whack it all the time, like getting in and out, because my current bathroom is very small.
No, I think you need to rephrase that. You are excessively large and tall.
Yes, that is true. I am a mountain of a man, so that does not help.
Joe is so big that his toilet cannot possibly be far enough from the wall in any situation.
You could probably hang it outside the toilet. Might be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen like monstrous things before where people have put the toilet roll on the door, which is like you're facing it, so you have to get up off the toilet to pull a sheet of toilet roll off. What monstrosity is this that I literally have to stand up? And they've got like a piece of string with a twig, and it's like, why? I don't want to stand up to have to go and get the toilet roll.
You're into butterfly effect territory there, aren't you?
I was sure I was being trolled at first, but no, that is genuinely where they kept their toilet roll. 2 steps away.